Hello, all you milquetoast high schoolers and misunderstood, but not really misunderstood bullies out there. Today, we take a look at a high school bully movie that shoots towards some amazing heights, but strangely lets its writing reach some amazing lows. So shine your brass knuckles and steal the money from the school store. This is Crushed Celluloid. Today we are doing 1987's 3 O'Clock High because of a donation from my brother. So thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Cole's brother.
Yeah, he's our biggest fan, I think.
Well, it's not that hard when you're one of like 3.
Yeah. But he'll listen to this, so we got that going for us.
Yeah. So hi, how you doing, Brandon? How's things?
Let's just start addressing him when we do podcast.
Yeah, we'll just ask him what he thinks, and then wait for the response that'll never come.
We'll get a sock puppet and just mimic voices. It'll be amazing.
I've been saying we need sock puppets on this podcast. They might not be able to see them. Yeah, they might not be able to see them, but they'll be able to feel them.
In their heart, really. But yes, 3 O'Clock High, that was released in our birth year, both of us.
Yeah, so while we were, being babies, this kind of stuff was going on in the world.
Yeah, and both of us, I'm pretty sure, are huge fans of just high school movies in general, and this one, I was kind of blown away by it, by how well, it was technically shot.
Oh, yeah,
the movie,
definitely.
It does fucking amazing.
It does, and there's some amazing camera work in this.
Oh, and it starts off amazing. It starts off with a horizontal shot. You see that so rarely.
The weird pan it does as it slowly goes to his eye level. That is so awesome. And I noticed something. I even made a comment about it in the opening scene where it gets to the high school finally after the whole big opening, and it does the tracking shot. It's like a Scorsese tracking shot through the hallways, going from character to character, almost like Slacker as well.
Yeah.
And then I read some background on it. It turns out that the director, Phil Janau, was saying I was really influenced by Martin Scorsese's After Hours and Raging Bull while I was making this. I was like, it totally shows.
Yeah, you could totally see a lot of Scorsese going into this, and it's awesome. Besides Heathers, I can't, and maybe a little bit Pump Up the Volume, but really you can't name that many well-shot high school movies. It's just not really done too terribly much.
Well, yeah, usually that's not the main concern, but yeah, this one was very well done.
Yeah, and it actually predates both Heathers and Pump Up the Volume.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was kind of never done too much again.
Yeah, well, I mean, this definitely wasn't a huge hit or anything. It didn't even make back its budget. It only had a $5 million budget, and it made $3.7 million back. But I mean, it's got, and surprisingly, I had never heard of it until just recently, a month or two ago. I read a small article about it on some website. But yeah, I had never heard about it. I had never seen it, but it has really good ratings. It has a 7.2 on IMDb, a 72% audience on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't know, it just missed us somehow.
Yeah, no, I'd never heard of it till Brandon mentioned it, and it's awesome. I'm glad we watched it, but I also have to say I'm surprised this director he hasn't done anything else. I mean, I guess since this kind of flop, but he hasn't really done anything notable.
Yeah, not really. He's done some TV, but other than that, as actual movies go, he did the Alec Baldwin movie Heaven's Prisoners. He did the Rock movie Gridiron Gang. And the most recent thing he did that I know of that I actually really like is a short called Punisher Dirty Laundry, where it had Thomas Jane back as the Punisher. It was this really cool little short film that I guess Thomas Jane kind of wanted to do to rally to be the Punisher again, but it was a really good short.
Cool, yeah, no, I saw that, and I had never heard of that either, but I'm not that into the Punisher, so I haven't even seen the new one that's supposed to be awesome. War Machine or something, what was it?
Oh, Warzone?
Warzone, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
really excellent.
Yeah, it was a really fun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say about this movie, though, I really dug it, and I take it you probably did too.
Yes.
Roger Ebert, though, gave it 1 star.
Really?
Yeah, his little blurb that I saw on Wikipedia about it his quote was, "The plot of this movie is pretty stupid."
Yeah, I'll give him that.
Yeah, but he's also the character of the bully or whatever is the most interesting character, and he's just kind of not used.
I will say that this movie's biggest problem is its lack of characterization, and that you feel like I agree with the bully. You think Buddy the bully, that you think Buddy the bully. You think he's gonna do something more. Like there's gonna be some backstory there, like that he has these real like family problems or something, and none of it really ever materializes.
Well, that's the thing, and they keep setting it up to where there could be things. Like I was surprised the scene where the guy Craig that was gonna beat him up for Jerry walks into the library and he's sitting there reading a book, and I was like, I thought maybe that was, I couldn't even see what the book was, but I thought he'd be like some deep philosophical type that no one understands or something.
No, the book is Of Mice and Men.
So
I'm thinking that's a reference to him being a man and the other boy being a mouse.
Yeah, that more seems like a sly joke. I didn't notice what the book was, but I thought he'd be like some deep philosopher type that everyone just thinks is a badass, but he's really just misunderstood.
That's really what it seems like they're setting it up for, and it never materializes. Yeah. It's really strange.
Well, also, there's the scene where, he gets caught cheating off of Jerry's test, and then they go into the office, and he's able to solve those math problems. And I kept thinking, like, what is he just, like, trying to hold up this image, but he's actually, like, a deep thinker, and he's really smart and knows all this stuff? But it's never explained. It's never said, like, why the fuck was he cheating on the test then if he knew it? It's just they just leave it behind.
Very strange.
But by the way, I didn't like look at the IMDb or who was in it or anything. I knew Casey Siemaszko was in it, but I didn't know anybody else. So when Buddy shows up for the first time, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, it's the bad guy from Kindergarten Cop." Richard Tyson.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who I saw. He was in Kindergarten Cop. I didn't know he was the bad guy. I haven't seen that movie in a while. Yeah,
well, he's been in some other stuff that I've seen him in, but that's the most well known that I can think of.
Yeah, no, a lot of Casey Siemaszko. Like I don't know him that well, but he has a laundry list of an IMDb page, and so does
well, basically
Tyson.
It's weird because he's been in a couple of things. He was in Stand By Me in a kind of a smaller part. He's one of the older kids. Yeah. But also, he's probably most known as being 3D from Back to the Future, the kid with the 3D glasses on. That's part of Biff's game.
Yeah.
That's probably his most well-known thing, even though he doesn't really. I think he has a line or two in it.
Yeah, no, okay, I didn't even realize that, but I did see. Yeah, he seems like he's just a side part in just all these movies, and then so is Richard Tyson. Yeah, and then the girl Annie Ryan has like 5 things to her name.
Yeah, and I kept thinking that I knew her from something else, but I don't.
Like she's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, apparently.
I don't even remember her in that.
In there.
Yeah, I saw her character's name, but I had no idea who it was. I will say this about Casey Siemaszko. I kind of see why he was never really given the leading man part. Like, he does pretty well in this, but he kind of, from the opening scenes especially, he kind of comes off as, like, a very bland John Cusack, like 80s teen lead.
Yep, yeah.
But he also kind of has a bit of a look of, like, a young Rob Schneider. He's basically the poor man's Will Wheaton, if there ever was one.
Okay, I'll give it that. But I will say his scene, and I don't want to get into it now, but his scene with the English teacher was amazing. Like, that's when he pulled out his chops.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, but at the same time, it's also kind of painful to watch.
Oh, it's so painful, but I think that's credit to him acting it so well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But anyway, we'll get to that. But
yeah, there's that, and there's one other scene that really sticks out for me, but yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. So, I guess let's jump in to the opening. We already kind of covered how, like, the camera...
The opening shot is amazing. I really like that.
Opening shot's amazing. Like, really, like, the whole... there are a couple of just really great shots. Like, there's this one that's right above his head when he's going through his drawers that I just thought looked fucking great. I was like, that's such a strange shot. You never see that.
It is. It's a very strange shot, and also just the way it's set up where he keeps opening drawers and he has, like, ping pong pedals and ping pong balls. So you think maybe that's going to be his thing, like he really likes ping pong, but no, it's never brought up. He just has this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Strange, fucking strange, but... It goes through, like, it starts off so John Hughesy, but once again, this director is so much more...
It does. It goes a lot darker than that.
John Hughes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the movie itself kind of goes darker. It has that silly John Hughes teen comedy vibe at times, but it goes in a lot of really weird places. But yeah, just the actual direction is what really sets this one apart.
It is, and it makes it amazing. And, like, there's a lot of that kind of... going on, and there's a lot of exposition in this movie too, but it's also really appreciated. Like, there's a part at the beginning, which I don't even know why this needed to happen, but the little sister is explaining, like, oh, I think your mom washed some shirts before they left for Fort Lauderdale, And it's like, okay. Like, and
oh yeah, but then they set it up like the mom never puts things in the dryer. But that's just like a throwaway line. And the whole opening scene of him getting ready is kind of a throwaway thing. He's running a little bit late, but he still kind of gets there when he's supposed to be there. And I guess maybe it's setting up his character, like he's supposed to be some kind of like quirky guy or whatever, but he's not really played that way.
No, and also they're juxtaposing it of him being this kind of slovenly, unprepared guy versus the girl character who's going to end up being the friend that wants to get with him, but he doesn't realize, kind of thing, but not really. But with her being kind of organized about it all.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of juxtaposing that, and then that doesn't come into play. Like I said, this movie has really, really weak characterization.
I think that's it. It sets up characters, definitely, but I think it just kind of pushes them to these payoff moments that aren't earned, and you're just kind of like, okay, because even like towards the end, you know, they kiss or whatever, and you're just kind of like, okay, that's still not really earned, even when they have their little scene in the school store or whatever. And there's a lot of things like that. There's a lot of things like that where it's just character moments are set up and they're supposed to be like payoff moments, but you didn't really build strong enough characters for us to care about these payoff moments.
Yeah, it's like the scene in the car ride, or the car ride scene where he goes and picks up this girl.
Which, by the way, before we get into the car ride, I just want to say that one of my favorite parts of that opening, which again is just a throwaway thing, but I thought it was hilarious, was him microwaving a shirt and a Pop-Tart at the same time.
That was good. I did like that. He pulls it out. He's like, wait, I can do these at the same time. Genius.
Yeah.
That boy's going places. But yeah, so we get in the car and he picks up the friend. And they're driving, and he sees the girl that's going to be, like, the hot love interest.
Which I didn't know, because this is the weird thing about that girl. She is way too old to be in high school. I know most of these people probably are, but when I first saw her in the car next to him, and he was kind of staring at her, I was like, oh, who's that older woman giving them the fuck me eyes? And then it's like, oh no, that's the hot girl at school? What the fuck? Like, the teacher that he hits on, it looks younger than her.
She really does. It's fucking, it's so crazy. And I love that they're going to drive-by, and, like, the friend is, like, talking, like, trying to ask him out on a date, but the little sister is eyeing her down, and then he's eyeing this girl, and the little sister is like, hey, you're supposed to stop at red lights, and his initial reaction is to floor it instead of hitting
he's just like, I'm committed now, I'm just gonna go through. But I love how, like, it gets into a problem to where, like, he's spinning around in a circle, and it looks like he does it 3 times. They just let that spin go on for so long. But then he evens out and everything's okay. But I thought that was a nice touch to where it just seemed like he just spun around in the middle of traffic about 3 full rotations before he started going again.
He just looking like a fool.
And then also, this movie also has a young, dark-haired Jeffrey Tambor.
Yep.
Which is so weird, because he's also, like, kind of thin and, like, decent looking. Like, it was kind of weird. I don't think I had seen him really that young before.
I never had either. But before that, I want to get on, like, the gossip train where we have the tracking shot that just goes through all these groups.
That was a really wonderful tracking shot. I love that.
It was. But I love, like, they're just setting up the bully, and it's actually, and that's one, it could have been great characterization if they had followed through with it, because it seems like they're setting up, like, oh, he's, like, there's all these rumors of him being this madman, and just like, oh my god, he's been kicked out, he's stabbed, he's done all these things, and I love that they end on, dude, he has brass knuckles, and he uses them sometimes, and I want to talk about, because this is the weird progression I've seen in movies about schools that I've seen over the years. Like, we'll start with, like, Blackboard Jungle, the one with Sidney Poitier, and that's, like, 1960s, and those kids are bad because they act up in class every now and again. Like, they'll still sit in their seats, but every once in a while they're going to yell something and maybe get out of their seats.
Every once in a while they're going to be a little disrespectful.
Exactly.
You better believe it.
And that's what Sidney Poitier has to deal with. In 1987, they had to deal with a bully that sometimes brings brass knuckles to school.
And has no problem punching the principal.
And then we go from there to Michelle Pfeiffer in, what is it, Dangerous Minds?
Oh, yeah.
And people with knives, or the substitute, where people are throwing knives at teachers in the middle of class.
Yeah, and then we transgress into High School High with John Lovitz.
where there's a lot of, where you have to shoot up heroin or something. I don't know.
in a bouncy ball. I don't know. That's all I remember.
Yeah, I used to love that movie. I don't think it would hold up.
Oh, I bet it won't.
We should do High School High.
We should. We should also be 13 again so we can really enjoy it.
Yeah. But yeah, so then we get to the store, and holy shit, does this high school have an extensive school store. I have never seen anything like that.
I don't even know if we had a school store.
People would steal from it. You would never be allowed to have that at Davidson.
No.
Like, they would just, I can't imagine any public school having this. It's just, it's like walking into a Walgreens or something.
Yeah.
It is insane.
Well, not only that, and kind of going back to where we were talking about the tracking shot where they're establishing the bully that's coming to the school, I really thought that they were going to kind of subvert that a little bit, and they were going to be like, no, of course there's all these wild stories about this guy coming into school, but they're not true. It's just his image. It's just people talk about and make shit up, and it's all hearsay. But no, like, it seems like it's all absolutely true.
Yeah, no, it's from his actions, all of it seems entirely plausible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought so too. They were like, oh, this is definitely, this kid is just overhyped. But no, he was accurately hyped.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the thing too, even the way the whole conflict is set up, I totally thought that the way they were playing it with them walking around the halls and stuff, I thought that that Buddy was just going to overhear Jerry saying something about him being a psycho or saying something bad about him when he's like having to write that piece. But no, like, he actually is just an asshole that likes to hit people, and Jerry really doesn't do anything to cause it.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it was going to be like a misunderstanding, but no.
Yeah. Well, let's get to where apparently his first period is he writes for the newspaper. His best friend is editor of the school newspaper, and the teacher has the line, well, talking about Buddy, like, well, there's this new kid, Buddy, and rather than alienating him, which has seemed to be the policy at his other schools, let's welcome him. Like, what? Why do you have that information? Where are you getting that from?
Well, yeah, it apparently seems a lot of times like the teachers totally know about his past and his history as well.
Yeah.
But no one's really worried about it.
No, it's very strange. But so this leads to God, what's his fucking name?
Who?
Jimmy?
Who?
Is that the main character?
No, Jerry.
Jerry, yeah.
Jerry.
To Jerry going and peeing at a urinal, Buddy happening to come in there, and I love that there's another dude in the stall that's kind of tapping his feet until he hears Buddy. And
then
he's
he
like,
stops.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, also, the thing that makes it really uncomfortable, because already it's a scene with two guys standing next to each other at a urinal.
Yeah.
But did you notice there was absolutely no pee sound? Like, they were just the quietest peers ever. Like, they're just standing there and kind of talking and stuff, but there was no sound of liquid or peeing happening. So it just kind of seems like they're just standing there holding their dicks, just...
Both of them are pee shy, and they're like, well, one of us has to walk away before we can do it. And Jerry decides to be make the most uncomfortable moment even more uncomfortable by talking to him while he's at the urinal.
Not only that, he actually reaches out with his hand and tries to shake his hand with his free hand.
It's like, that is so... Who does that?
Yeah.
That is the grossest thing.
By the way, again, this is a running theme I think we're going to run into from, like, the 90s back, and the 80s especially, I guess. But all the homophobic talk. Because immediately, like, the first thing he says to him, and he's like, oh, hey, I'm Jerry, I do this. And he's like, if you're a fag... Which actually comes back. That line gets said twice, and I was like, is this a running gag? Like, hey, if you're a fag...
Oh, they were very afraid of fags back in 1987 high schools. And yeah, like, Jerry's talking to him, he's like, and it's very... And the thing is that Buddy set up that he doesn't like to be touched,
yeah,
and everybody ends up touching him. Like, Jerry...
Well, apparently if someone touches him, his immediate response is to punch you in the face. But I love
yes.
one of my favorite things about the movie, because it happens a couple of times, but every time someone does touch Buddy, I love his eyes and just the look that comes over his face, like
he
sheer shock and horror, just like, forever unclean, and then just like rage punch somebody.
No, he gets this completely manic look, and I love the fight they have in the bathroom where he just fucking slams him against the wall, and like, I get, like, and here's another thing that has no payoff. He flushes the toilet as if he's getting the water on his pants, as if it looks like he's peed himself or something. And then, like,
well, he's wearing dark pants, so it doesn't really show up, I guess.
Yeah, so just they're like, oh shit, we didn't think that one through. But yeah, he fucking throws him into the mirror, like breaking it, and then we get our dilemma for the movie, which is Buddy is going to fight him at 3 o'clock, and there is nothing Jerry can do about it to stop it.
Really, there's nothing. He tries a lot.
Yes. And then I love when Buddy leaves, and the kid in the stall just runs out, just gives Jerry this weird stare of, like, grave wonderment for a second, and then just runs out.
Well, yeah, it's just that look of, like, oh man, you are so fucked. I gotta go tell everybody.
Yes.
But there was one small touch that I actually enjoyed that is something that I think would probably get overlooked in a less skilled movie. But when Jerry comes out of the bathroom, all the way until he gets back into his newspaper room, like, his sweater that he's wearing, it's, like, crumpled up and pulled up a little bit in the front from where Buddy had been, like, throwing him around and stuff, and it stayed that way. Like, he just left a dent in his sweater, and that actually stayed the whole way through, which was, like, a small detail I enjoyed.
I did not notice that. That's awesome.
Yeah, usually, it'd be a different take or something, and it would just be smoothed out or nothing, but, like, it's literally, like, crumpled out, like he just left a dent in his sweater.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I missed that touch. I do love when they get back to the room, and his best friend and the girl that is a friend is apparently there too, and she comes up to him and she's like, "Buddy, something is happening inside you." Like, what? What does
Not
that
Buddy,
mean?
but Jerry. Yeah.
Jerry. Yeah. My note is wrong, but yeah. She said, "Jerry, something's happening inside you," and she's like, "I need to consult Ethan. He's my spirit guide." Like, oh, so this is another character trait she has?
Well, see, that's the only thing I got from her is I guess they tried to set her up as being like a goth chick or something.
Like a proto-goth chick,
yeah, I guess, but it's so weird because I think with her the most, there are so many things that are just like not brought up again or not really paid off. That just kind of, they come and they go and then they're not explained. I think she's the most confusing character in this movie.
She really is. Like, out of a movie of completely confusing characters, she is the most confusing. But I do like that they're kind of, I mean, we'll get into this more as the movie goes on, but they're playing on tropes. Like, it seems like they're trying to play off popular tropes of high school movies that have already been set up so they don't feel the need to explain them. And I felt like that's kind of what they were trying to do with her, but they kind of failed in the end. Yeah,
a little bit. Because, again, I don't know, there's especially the scene of them in the school store that is just baffling to me completely.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, and again, like, there's not really much of a love story set up between them. And it kind of sets it up like it is at the end, but then it doesn't, and it completely just does away with that at the end as well.
Well, yeah, it's all weird. But anyway, so we'll move on to Jerry confronts Buddy and tries to get out of it by talking his way out, and his best friend ends up seeing his combination. But I do love when Jerry goes to science class and immediately the AV club nerds are all over him like, Can we get the rights to film your documentary?
Those guys made me laugh so much. I was like, oh my god, they're so annoying. And I was like, oh man, that's totally like me and Cole in high school. Like, we would have been those guys, been like, oh man, he's gonna kick your ass. Can we film it? Yeah. We're trying to become filmmakers. Let's follow you around the camera. We signed this release.
But I mean, come on, no one was giving us access to the AV club.
Well, I mean, yeah. And high school wasn't like that for us. People got their asses kicked all the time. No one made a big deal out of it.
Yeah, no one really cared. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And there's this other weird scene where he sees it's set up that the hot girl is there once again. There's this scene earlier where he's awkwardly trying to flirt with her while she's buying paper from him in the school store.
Oh, it's really bad.
Really bad. But there's this scene in the science class where she's talking to, like, I hear you're gonna fight Buddy Revel. He's like, well, I'm not. It's like, well, you ever been in a fight before? He says, well, no. And she says, And that's the scene. That's it.
Well, see, there's the thing about that girl too, because she's not in the movie very much, and I guess it's kind of set up like that's his dream girl, like the hot girl he can't get.
Yeah,
but at the same time, they even try to play with that trope of like, oh, after people think you're cool or you do something cool, then the hot girl comes after you. And, usually, he would be, no, I'm going to be with my dorky best friend who I should have been with all along, and I'm going to snub the hot girl. But that totally doesn't happen either. He's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'll totally hit all three of them.
Well, yes, we'll get to the love triangle that this movie decides to end on.
So, Jerry's best friend Vincent, who is your standard issue high school nerd character,
Yes.
pretty much just a stock nerd character, he gets the bright idea to try to frame Buddy and get him kicked out of school before 3 o'clock happens and Jerry gets his ass kicked. So he plans to plant a knife in Buddy's locker using the combination that he saw and leave an anonymous note to, have them discover the knife and kick him out of school. But of course, everything goes awry.
Which brings up the question, where does the nerdy guy get a switchblade? Why does he just produce one all of a sudden?
Yeah, and that is weird because, he didn't know any of this was going to happen today, so did he just happen to already have a switchblade on him? Or did he go talk to one of the bad kids and buy it off of him?
There's some fan fiction in here somewhere where him and... I just forgot his name. The guy from Michael Anthony Hall from The Breakfast Club had a suicide pact that day with a flare gun and a switchblade. I swear.
Oh man.
Best we need
to make a reimagining prequel to this movie.
Well, we really need to tie 3 O'Clock High to Breakfast Club. I think that's what the ages have been missing.
I think so, because they really could totally be in the same universe. But weird, interesting fact, the school from this movie is the same school that they used like over a decade later in Drive Me Crazy, the Melissa Joan Hart, Adrian Grenier movie.
After Melissa Joan Hart was way out of high school range
already. Oh yeah.
But... yeah, so that was cool. So we get to the assembly scene, which is another fucking amazingly shot scene.
It really is, like, dude, there are that one and the actual fight scene at the end, like, the way he handles, like, huge crowds, like, everything is framed so perfectly. I will say something I noticed in this scene, there is one black guy at that school. Just one. There was a shot right after I saw that one guy, and I saw a black guy in the back, and I was like, oh no, there's two, and I was like, oh no, that's the same fucking guy that they just showed.
That's just the same black guy. Yeah. No, that makes sense because you don't realize this till like 3/4 of the way through the movie until Jerry goes up on the roof. But they are in the middle of mountain country. Like they are either in Colorado or like New Mexico or Utah. Like they are somewhere extremely mountainous. Like
meaning extremely white.
Yes, exactly. They are not known for their diversity out there.
But no, this assembly scene is awesome because the way it's set up is that Jerry's worried about the fight happening, and then Buddy comes in on the complete opposite side of the auditorium, which is like the school gym. And there's this this scene where they're just like staring each other down from across the way, and then the lights fade out, and it's tense. Like you realize they're on complete opposite sides, and like nothing's gonna happen, but it felt tense.
Oh, and I love when Jerry stands up, freaks out, and tries to go forward and just falls. Like, fucking like, it made me laugh. Pratfalls don't usually make me laugh, and that one did.
I will say this, though, because this scene and then the scene where he kind of trashes the school store, like, Casey Siemaszko, like, he does some good physical comedy. Like, especially when it gets into that school store scene where everything is just going crazy. I just, like, ladies and gentlemen, the physical comedy stylings of Casey Siemaszko.
No, he fucking nails it. I could not stop laughing during that school store scene.
Yeah, it's weird, especially that like when he gets like the fire extinguisher and stuff. There's little moments and facial tics and stuff where he almost plays it as like a Buster Keaton or something, like kind of like a silent physical comedian.
I could totally see that. Which I was very surprised he nailed that.
Oh yeah, but back to the assembly scene. Probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie because it just looks like surreal and almost dreamlike. But they drop like a paper mache football player of I guess the rival school's team, and the cheerleaders come out with fucking baseball bats and just start like beating limbs off of this piñata, and then like sparkly like red dust that looks glitter. Like blood is coming out. And it's like Jerry's imagining him getting his limbs torn off, but it's such a weird scene. I was like, what kind of fucked up assembly is this?
It was insane. It totally reminded me of Heathers, which came out next year, so calling back to that. But yeah, they hit the head off it, and it's just this glowing like red-eyed skull that lands right at Jerry's feet, and that's what causes him to freak out and run away. I also love this is another confusing thing about the girl that's a friend, is she saying, Ethan says you're a warrior and you will come out unscathed, but it's up to us. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, it is time for you and I to bond. And so it's like, well, she's not the sidelined friend character. She is actively pursuing this guy, apparently, and has been for a while, because he just kind of brushes it off like, oh god, now's not the time.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It took me until their scene later on to figure out what she meant by bonding, because I totally thought it was going to be like she was going to have some kind of seance and they were going to go through some rituals so where like he can connect with Ethan too, or some weird shit like that. I didn't mean it was like, no, bonding just means fucking.
Yeah, no, I assume it did not, but yeah, it became clear later, like, oh, so I was right in my first guess as to what bonding meant. It was, they were spelling it out.
I was more thinking of that as a joke, is like, yeah, I bet you'd like to bond with him, and I was like, oh no, that's seriously what she means.
yeah, that is exactly what she means. She was not joking in any way, shape, or form. So after this, Jerry tries to run away by going to his car, but he has found the knife, stabbed it into his mom's steering wheel, with a note saying, you can't escape no matter what. Wait for the time's ticking.
Not only that, he fucking does something fucked up to his car. Like, when he lifts the hood, it's like he just pulled out the engine. Or, like, there are a whole bunch of wires loose and stuff like that. Like, he made sure...
that car is not moving anywhere.
But then we get one of my favorite smaller roles in the movie, which is the security guard at the school, who's played by Mitch Pileggi, who's Skinner from the X-Files.
Oh, I didn't catch
that. Oh, man. I was just like, oh, FBI agent by night, school security guard by day.
FBI just doesn't pay what it used to.
But basically, Jerry gets caught with the knife in his pocket, because he put it in after he got it out of the wheel. And he gets sent to, whoever reprimands the students. What was he, like the dean of discipline or something like that?
Yeah.
Some weird title. But Skinner has this really good line when he's bringing him in. Like, he tosses the knife on the table. He's like, yeah, I found this one out there with a concealed weapon when I was looking for narcotics on him and stuff. And then he's like, hey, tell your friends there's no escaping the Duker. And just delivers it completely straight, but then right afterwards he has this look on his face like, oh god, that was a stupid line. No, never mind, I'll stay with it. See you guys later.
Oh, I love how downplayed that was. In a lesser movie, they would have highlighted that moment.
Yeah, no, it was just a really small moment, and I think that's something that he just did himself, because he actually is a very good actor.
Yeah, I could see that. And oh, holy shit, this Dean of Discipline's office, there's a fucking bobcat mid-attack, like fucking hanging off the wall. There's this weird, army statue. There's just all this weird shit in his office, and it's played so noir-esque. It's so creepy. It really is so cool.
And they use, these really quick cuts, when he's talking to him, and Jerry's worried about, his permanent record and shit, and it's just like, bobcat, army guy. It's just really funny quick shots. Just why the fuck would you have these in your office? Are you just trying to scare the shit out of kids?
Yeah, it is a creepy as shit office, and this guy is creepy as shit also. That comes back a little bit later.
There's just this tiny little part where his secretary comes in and just brings him the file. I fucking know that lady from somewhere. I forgot to look up who she was, but I don't know. For some reason, I feel like she was on Pee-wee's Playhouse or something like that.
Ooh,
I think she might have been the really big neighbor lady that came over and bugged him every once in a while.
I could see that. Yeah.
I'm not completely sure, but that's the only thing my brain was telling me.
Yeah, no, I knew, I recognized her too. I couldn't place it, but I do love when she comes in and just the look she's giving. It's almost as if, especially in that office, it's almost as if we stepped into a David Lynch movie, out of nowhere, and you're just like, holy shit, this is getting weird. It just all gets so strange. And
Casey Simesko randomly finds an ear on the floor, and then we go into a completely different tale.
He ends up going over that teacher's house and hiding in her closet as she sings to Dustin Hoffman on drugs.
and Mitch Pileggi just comes out with a fucking gas mask on, breathing in nitrous.
Don't you ever look at me!
Oh man, I would love to see him do that scene.
That would be amazing. Okay, back to the movie we are watching.
Yeah. Okay. So Jerry's next idea to get out of it is to pay off this really big guy who's bigger than Buddy, named Craig, to fight Buddy for him and get him to leave him alone, because he did this for another kid some time back. But he basically was going to charge him like $450 in order to do so, which just happens to be the amount of money in the school store that he has access to steal.
Yeah. So we get the comic the physical comic stylings of Casey Siemaszko.
And it is a pleasure and a joy. And it was humbling, honestly.
So pretty much, yeah. But pretty much the cash register won't come open, which had come into play earlier when he was trying to flirt with the hot older lady that happens to be a high schooler.
Yeah.
And
she got left back a lot.
Yeah. And hijinks ensue. I think my favorite part of it, besides the very end, is when he takes the globe off the thing and he goes to stand over it like he's gonna smash it, and he just throws the globe down and it does absolutely nothing except smash the globe.
Yeah, the globe just breaks into pieces. It just like cuts through it like butter. But my favorite thing is just the way that it's set up, the actual scene, because he grabs the globe off of it, and then it's like the camera's looking from a very low angle, and he has it like over his shoulder, like kind of like a statue of just carrying this great weight on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then he just lifts it up on his head, and you keep thinking someone's gonna like walk into this scene or something, but no, he just pauses for an extremely long amount of time before slamming it down. But his next idea is just brilliant, which is grabbing a fire extinguisher and then like setting up all the way across the room and then getting a running start with it to fucking hit it against the register, and he completely destroys the register and gets it open. But then like the fire extinguisher starts shooting all over.
That's it. He just smashes it like 4 or 5 times. Like sparks are coming out of it, and then the fire extinguisher goes off, and then he can't control it. It's spraying all over everything. He's knocking shit over.
Well, that's especially the scene that made me think of like Buster Keaton, just kind of like just fumbling around, falling down and stuff, and it was really good.
Well, the most Buster Keaton thing, I think, is that he ends up falling back into the desk where you just see the cash register in the upper right-hand corner, and it takes a beat, and then the cash register opens apropos of nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Just like, that was amazing. Just perfect comic timing. It was hilarious. I love that scene. So good. And so, yeah, he pays off the guy to beat up the bully, and... and then we get to the library, another amazing comic scene.
Oh man, there's nothing like a good domino effect.
Oh, it's so good. So yeah, the paid off bully goes in, tries to threaten Buddy. Buddy just
he does it in a very bad way. He's basically just like sticking his finger in his chest, just like leaving it open there. Of course he's gonna break your fucking finger, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, Buddy grabs his finger, breaks it, punches his because the guy touched him, poked his chest. You don't.
Oh, and he gets Buddy. That look again, just like again, just like he really is just like a manic, creepy guy in those scenes.
I love it. And so he breaks the dude's finger, punches him in the nose, sends him reeling back into the bookcase. And Jerry and his nerd friend have taken a spot behind the bookshelves where they are just kind of trying to watch the action. There is a domino effect of bookshelves falling that hits a coat of arms that are not.
Yeah, no, basically the first row of stacks does a domino effect, and then it hits a suit of like medieval armor, and then that knocks over the other stacks, and it all kind of topples down domino effect style until it just shows Jerry and his friend Vincent standing in the corner watching, looking like fucking idiots.
It just looks so stupid. It is so awesome. That was a great reveal.
Yeah, and I really, man, if they got that in one take, like first time, that is amazing.
Yeah,
because so many things could have gone wrong in that scene, but it all it worked perfectly and everything toppled just right.
Oh, that would have been so annoying if you had to set that up multiple times.
Oh yeah, because they were just full of books and everything. Like that had to have been a one-time thing.
It would have been horrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, fucking 2 amazing comic scenes followed right behind each other, and then we get to another scene. This is one of the weaker scenes of the movie where they get back in the bathroom. Jerry's upset and he gets his money back from Dude.
Well, almost all of it. And they gave him $100 for getting his teeth knocked out.
Yes. And Jerry gets pissed off at the best friend, and so they have their their breaking of ways naturally, as must happen in high
Oh
school
yeah,
movies.
that is definitely the weakest scene in the movie for me too, because I'm just like, we don't even know much about their relationship or how long they've been friends, because like it kind of seemed like they were a little bit of assholes to each other the whole time. So when this happens, like I didn't feel anything, and then there's that moment towards the very end of the movie where like everyone's coming to help him out, and Vincent's just like standing in the background, and they just like give each other a nod and a smile, and I was like, what kind of fucking payoff are you trying to deliver here? I don't care if they're friends anymore.
Yeah, such weak characterization. And another weak characterization in this moment is the sister also is in the bathroom, but when the best friend leaves, she starts talking about, remember whenever we used to watch reruns of Gunsmoke 3 times a day? And I thought that line was weird.
Nobody talks like that.
No, but at the same time, it's like, are you trying to set up some kind of absent parent message? Like, oh, we were just raised by TV. But that's not it either. That's just, they used to watch a lot of fucking Gunsmoke, apparently. Like
3 times a day, which that's a lot of Gunsmoke for anybody to handle.
I didn't
it's not that good of a show.
I can't imagine back in the day that Gunsmoke played that much during a day, but whatever. And so yeah, that once again, I thought they were setting up like their parents who are just always absent, but no, that doesn't seem to be the case.
And there's also a weird angle being played too, because it comes up that Jerry is hypoglycemic. And he, didn't eat anything for lunch. He threw up what he had for breakfast because he was worried and sick and feeling ill. And it kind of like seems like he is getting more and more sick, and he even passes out at one point due to that. Yeah. But then towards the end of the movie, when he does his big fight scene, like he still has not eaten shit. Like he would be weak and like would not be able to handle that fight. But they just kind of brush it off once they're kind of done getting a joke out of it.
Yeah, fucking weird.
But we go from this kind of subpar scene to probably the best scene of the movie, which takes place because basically Jerry's plan now is to get detention, so that way he can't fight him at 3 o'clock, because he'll have to be in detention after school, which that's a stupid idea, because that might work for today, but what about tomorrow?
He's
it's not like it's not like, no, he just wants to fight today. Tomorrow he won't care anymore. He'll forget about it. So what he does is he has to give a book report in this class where he has a pretty hot teacher, I have to say.
Yeah,
I never had a teacher like that. But yeah, he basically decides that he's gonna be like cool guy extraordinaire. Which, again, this is probably my favorite scene, and this is a testament to how fucking good Casey Siemaszko is in this movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, he wasn't that great through most of it. He was kind of there, but he
the
is
comedy,
great
man, he was there, because
he's
he
there
does
for the
it,
comedy,
but he does
definitely.
it completely straight. Like, he plays it as the straight man, just, like, kind of unaware of how funny he's being.
Yeah, and that's why they're landing so well, definitely. But yeah, so he's acting like a badass.
Yeah, well, which is the thing, because he immediately just like, all right, I'm going to take this pack of cigarettes out of this girl's purse, take these sunglasses off this guy's desk, like, sunglasses and a cigarette. Who's the cool guy now, huh?
And he's going to give a book report.
Oh, and he kind of like lights up a cigarette, and he starts walking around the room, and he has like this new rhythm in his talking. He's trying to like sound like a cool guy, and then he starts doing a book report on, what was it, Holly Goes to Hollywood or something like that.
No, Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
No, that's the name of a band.
Oh,
I think it was like Holly, or some woman's name like goes to Hollywood or something, and it's a porno basically.
Yeah, and he's actually like, he makes it sound like a convincing book report. Like he's like the exposition of chapter number 5.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about syntax for a minute.
Yeah, like he's acted all so. Yeah, he gets up close to the teacher's face. He's like, "Now, what's your favorite book?" And she's like, "What does that matter?" He's like, "I just want to know." She's like, "Turn of the Screw." And he's like, "What a coincidence." And he like kisses her, then he passes out. And I didn't know this because I didn't know this because I read Turn of the Screw, but it's by Henry James, and apparently it has a scene where a male student kisses a tutor, and that's the joke, which is such an obscure joke.
Which is actually a very highbrow joke for a movie like this. For a teen comedy, like that's a pretty good joke.
That's pretty. I wonder if Turn to the Screw was taught a lot more, like back in the day.
Maybe I would doubt it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Because that seems, especially not in high school, because that seems like it would be kind of an inappropriate thing for most high schools.
Yeah, but then once again, there's this amazing shot after he kisses the teacher where you kind of track him as he falls and passes out on the ground.
Which again, yeah, it is a very good scene, but I kind of forgot about the fact that he's like hypoglycemic and that's why he fainted, because he didn't have anything. I was like, did he just like get really excited because it's the first time he kissed a girl and then just pass out?
Yeah, that's what.
Or I was like, maybe he got a little lightheaded from smoking that cigarette. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I totally forgot until you mentioned the hypoglycemia. Like, oh, that's what happened. Although they do end the scene on the lamest fucking joke they possibly could, which is this guy that's wearing like a French revolutionary outfit for some reason is like, now that's what I call a book report. Like, really?
Oh yeah, that guy has so many really bad lines like that. And that guy, like, again, he kind of reminded me of someone, and I couldn't think about it until just a little while ago. But I was like, now I know. He kind of looks like the really mannish member of La Tigre. Like, that's what he reminds me of.
Sure, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And then we go to the nurse's office. And apparently the teacher was all about that kiss, and she's like, she actually wants you to call her at home later if you can't see her.
I was like that's how you do high school.
Well, I love that he's immediately like, well, you mean I'm not going to get detention? That they just eschew the entire teenage sex comedy that it could have turned into.
Oh yeah,
or that joke kind of belongs in. Yeah.
I mean, it has moments of that, but yeah, they kind of like shy away from it whenever they start to do it. But yeah, that's kind of just a weird thing too. It's like, all right, so now he totally has the opportunity to bang his teacher.
But right after this, he also gets invited to the party from Sexy Girl.
Again, so I guess his antics in the class, like doing something so cool, and he's fighting the bad guy or whatever, like, oh, now she's interested all of a sudden. But again, like, there's no kind of real setup to that. It's just now all of a sudden she's interested, and it's not like he snubs her later or anything like he would usually do. There's no Teen Wolf moment where he he runs right past her like he's gonna go to her, and then ends up going to, his homely looking best friend.
Yeah, no, none of that. Except there is the next scene where we find out what bonding meant, where apparently his friend that is a girl has broken into the school store and has been waiting for him for God knows why.
Yeah, and lit a bunch of candles and set up a makeshift bed.
Yes, and tries to fuck him. Like, they're...
Kind of.
I mean, that's... The assumption is that that's what's gonna happen. Then,
and I totally thought, I was like, man... worst day of your life, more like the best day of your life.
Seriously, like you were gonna bang so many chicks all in one day. It's amazing.
Yeah, this buddy guy coming to the school is the best thing that ever happened to you.
You might get your nose broken. Fucking suck it up, man. But yeah, so she sets up this bed and they make out for a little while, and then she just kind of pulls away, gets this look of horror. She's like, I need to go. I'll talk to you later, and just runs out.
See, this is the most confusing fucking thing in the movie for me, because
what happened?
Well, and it's never explained, because I thought one of a couple of things could have happened. I could have thought one, they kissed and she just wasn't feeling it. She's like, oh, maybe this is a bad idea. Two,
that's kind of how it's played.
Yeah. Two, they kissed and she really felt something, and maybe she it's like, no, it's not right to do it here. This needs to be more special.
Yeah, could have been it too.
Yeah, or she was just kind of like disgusted and was just kind of like, oh, I was about. Oh, the third option that I thought might have happened is like she kissed him and then it had something to do with Ethan. Like maybe she felt Ethan's presence, or like thought that he was not approving, or maybe like, oh, you feel like Ethan on the inside. I don't know. I thought there was going to be some weird thing, but no, it's just completely not mentioned again.
Yeah, that's just
That's it. Seriously,
it's the most confusing scene in the movie, and
which is followed by another one next.
Yeah, where Jeffrey Tambor comes back with a detective who all of a sudden starts accusing him of robbing the store.
Yeah, the detective is Philip Baker Hall, and he immediately was just like, "Hey, I just want you to know, I think it's an inside job. It usually is."
I love that there are not one but two like shadowy detective types in this movie, like him and the director of discipline or whatever.
Yeah,
the Department of Discipline.
The Department of Discipline.
And then we go to a math to math class.
Yeah, which, by the way, just by looking at, like, the test and the shit he was writing on the board, I don't remember shit from Algebra 2.
I'm wondering if any of that is real.
I didn't know. I was just like, I don't even know what that shit means.
No,
But then again, math was never my strongest subject, but whew, I did not even recognize any of that.
Yeah, no, I got nothing for it. And Buddy ends up getting seated right beside Jerry. Buddy is apparently having trouble on a test, which isn't as much of a test as a placement exam to see how much they remember from before. So there's no real stress. No.
Well, that's the thing. This wasn't like the first day of school or anything. Like, they're already in their school. No. They were already well into the school year. This is just Buddy's first day. He came from another school. So, and this is the thing that's weird about that.
No. It was all of their first days. Remember in the car in the first scene, they're talking about, what do you think the style will be this year? Remember last year it was 60s? Why did the seniors have to change it so much? And then the other girl, when she gets in the car...
No. That's just... See, and that even made it seem like maybe they're closer to the end of the year, like closer to graduation or something. And maybe they're just talking about some dance or something that's coming up soon. But I think they're already, like, into the school year. I don't think it's the first day of school.
I think it is.
I think you're wrong. But basically...
Anyway.
There's a really kind of, like, good moment where I thought something was going to happen with it, but of course it doesn't, to where, like, you know, Buddy is sitting there and he looks like he's having problems with the test, and then, like, he looks over at Jerry, and he kind of, like, looks down at his test a little bit, but he gives him a little bit, like, hey, help me out, man. And you think maybe they're going to have something or some relationship is going to form, but no, like, he cheats off them a little bit, they get caught cheating, and then basically... Jerry tries to take the fall for it, I guess, to try to get on Buddy's good graces. And the principal or whatever makes Buddy solve two of the problems off the test on a board to prove that he wasn't the one that was cheating. And he does, and he can totally do it easily.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? And it's not explained. Like, they don't. He doesn't even. When Casey Semesco, like, goes and confronts him in the next scene, he's not like, "Hey, why were you cheating? You knew the answers. What's going on?" Nothing is explained of it.
No, it is strange as shit. And so, once again, we never find anything else about this stuff.
No, it just moves on, and then he ends up offering Buddy the $350 he had left over to not kick his ass.
Yes, and I do love Buddy's response, and he's just like, he accepts it. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, you know what? You're the biggest pussy I ever met in my life. You didn't even try. How does that feel? He's like, damn.
Yeah, and then he has this disgusted look on his face, and he kind of shakes his head at him a little bit, and then walks away.
It's so demeaning. and
it is, but that's what he needs. That's what he needs to turn his ass around and, like, make him stand up for himself.
Yeah, and I love when he goes back and he's like, give me my money, we're fighting, blah, 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 it's back on. And he walks away and he hits the locker. He waits till he gets around the corner and grabs his hand.
No, I thought that was one of the most beautiful touches of the movie, because, yeah, he does. He just hits a locker really hard, and he seems intimidating, but then he immediately turns a corner, and then he just looks like he's about to cry because he hurt his little hand.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. And then we get to fight time.
Yeah, which, again, this is just a wonderfully staged scene, because it kind of, like, you see Buddy walking down the hall preparing for the fight, you see him going to the bathroom, splashing water on his face, and then you see the classes getting out and everyone going outside. But then there's this really good shot of Jerry walking out of the building, and he kind of turns the corner, and then the camera just, like, kind of zooms back big, and you see just, like, a huge crowd of people hanging out of, like, windows inside the school and stuff like that. Like, everyone is watching this fight, and it's just a really well-shot scene.
Yeah, it's insanity, and I love that the principal comes and tries to break it up, and he ends up touching Buddy, so Buddy just punches the principal in the face. So I guess he's going to get expelled, if not arrested soon enough. Well,
I mean, that's the thing, though, because then, like, the next day after the fight, Buddy's there, and it seems like nothing happened to him.
Yep. But anyway, let's go through the fight. And the part that it made me so sad was the documentary guys. They get up in Buddy's face, and Buddy just grabs their camera and hits it on the side of a car, like, oh.
That made me so sad, too. I was like, dude, this is 1987. Do you have any idea how much that camera probably cost them? And I was like, oh, no, they probably got it from the AV Club. They're going to get cashed out.
Oh, no, and that was their lives. They wanted to be documentarians.
Yeah. Oh, man, but there's a lot of really good moments in this, because
there is.
There's also who was it? The Department of Discipline comes in.
Yeah.
And he comes in with another guy, and he ends up punching Mitch Pileggi.
The security guard.
Yeah, he ends up punching him in the face, and he goes out, and then he just kind of like slowly backs off and runs away. And I was like, oh, Kojak just ran away.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
And when Jerry finally does throw a punch and like land a punch on Buddy, the look on his face, just like he is so surprised that he actually hit something. He just like stares at his fist in amazement.
Yeah.
Just throws himself off completely.
Oh, and I love, well, his friend that is the girl that is a friend steps in, and she's like, if you want Jerry, you got to go through me. And Buddy just grabs her face and pushes her out of the way.
He pushes her face off.
Yeah, he does. And face off. And then Jerry, I love that he gets up. He's like, come on, you're supposed to fight me. Come on, you peckerhead. Like that has to be weak even by 1987 standards.
Oh yeah, it is. And he keeps calling him a pussy and stuff like that, and it just doesn't sound right coming out of his mouth.
No, he can't say it quite properly.
He can't be that intimidating.
But I do love that there's one moment where he, like, after he's getting beat up, he does the Dalton knee kick. Because the biggest man you take down with a kick to the knees.
And it's funny because I feel like, and maybe I'm just making this up, but I feel like when he does kick him in the leg and he actually goes down for a second, I feel like they really overplayed that, and like maybe there was an extra sound effect or something. I just felt like there was like a when he gets kicked in the leg.
Yeah. No, I thought that was going to seriously cripple him. He doesn't
power
notice
kick.
it so much. Yeah. Street Fighter shit going on. And
so yeah, after Jerry actually gets a good few hits in, then Buddy decides to bring out the brass knuckles for the win.
Why is he bringing the brass knuckles to this fight with this kid?
Well, that's the thing I was wondering too, because I was like, he poses no threat. Like, why would he even bother bringing them? Is it just like his good luck brass knuckles?
It's like, are you just really trying to kill him at this point? Like, he really didn't do that much to you, man.
Yeah, exactly. But then his friend Vincent ends up jumping on him and like trying to hit him, just not doing very well. But
yeah,
and he gets a knee to the balls.
Yep. And his sister, he drops. Well, the brass knuckles were dropped. The sister brings it to Jerry. Jerry ends up getting a good hit on him that knocks Buddy out.
Oh, that's funny, though. Before this hit actually happens, though, they're kind of circling each other for a hot minute, and there's a really good moment where the principal, who's still laying on the ground, kind of picks his head up, and he's like, "Don't fuck this up, Mitchell!"
Yeah, I did like that. That was a good touch. And yeah, so he hits him, he knocks him out. It's a really cool scene, like kind of like a standard boxing movie scene where like the crowd goes silent as you see Buddy kind of fall to the ground and pass out. Like it was nice. But after this, once again, the friend that is a girl comes up and starts making out with Jerry. And like, wait, but why wouldn't you earlier? Like, what has changed? I don't get it. Explain yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not resolved in any way.
No.
And again, there's that whole story with the detective. He comes back. He's going to talk to him. But then the principal's just like, no, he's had enough today. You can talk to him tomorrow. And I was like, dude, cops outrate principals.
Yeah, I don't...
If the cop wants to take him in, he'll fucking take him in.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to listen to your authority. Like, not on my campus. But... yeah, and also the cops had crazy good timing because they show up pretty much right once the fight's over, and Buddy disappears into dust, even though he is the hugest motherfucker in that crowd. Yeah. And they're just like, oh no, he's disappeared. Like, it's okay, we'll find him. And you think they're gonna find the money on him. He's gonna get blamed since they tried to make him a bad guy.
Exactly,
with the brass knuckles.
That was set up completely. Like, I even thought Casey Mesco might be like, yeah, he did it. He has the money in his pocket. No. Yeah. Not at all.
No, because what turns out happening the next day, which is even more explicable, is they go back the next day. Casey's still opening up the store, or Jerry, as we'll call his stage name, and people have heard about his troubles, so they all, like, it's a school-wide thing that they're all going to buy a sheet of paper for $1
everyone
to
bands
fund
together to give him the money. But it's so weird how it goes, because it seems like everyone's coming in and like throwing money at him for paper and stuff so that he can raise the $450. Then there's a moment where Buddy walks in and he's all silent, and he like holds a fist up to his face, and you think like, oh, something's gonna go down, but then he slowly moves it down and then drops the $350 down. But right before that happens, his sister is like counting a bunch of ones. She's like, oh man, there must be like $100 here. And then he brings back the $350, so he gets back exactly the $450 that was stolen.
Except there's still people lining up to fucking throw money at him.
So he's making extra money.
So he's getting paid for fighting. That is the lesson of this movie.
But the strangest thing of all is like the weird love triangle ending.
Yeah, first he kisses, I want to say he kisses the girl that is a friend, and then sexy girl comes back and like, so you coming over to my place tonight? And he's like, well,
Perfect opportunity for him to be like, nah, I don't need you. You didn't like me before. I'm going to be with my best friend.
Except she did like him the entire time.
Kind of, but like...
She was eye-fucking him from the beginning.
It seems like she never really gave him the time of day and she was being mildly flirtatious, but it seems like maybe they just hadn't met or something. Yeah, but then he's not like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. He's like, oh, well, yeah. And then he kind of looks at his friend, the girl, and just kind of like, whatever. I'm going to get it where I can get it. But
then you want to go over the most inexplicable moment of the movie?
Yeah, but one of the most wonderful. Then there's that kind of triangle between those three, but then it becomes like a trifecta because through the door to the school store comes his, I guess, English teacher. It would have been, but the one that he like made out with in the scene before, and she just like rips her clothes off basically and just comes up and just like makes out with them hardcore, and I was like, dude, he's just gonna fuck everybody. It made no sense, and it almost made me feel like, wait, was this whole thing a dream? Like, is he dreaming this entire day happened? Because the way that ended with the teacher coming in and just making out with them, I was just like, man, is this just like a weird like perverted sex fantasy of like a 17-year-old virgin?
You would think, except then it goes to him saying, "Oh man, what a day!" Credits roll.
Yeah.
But you want to know something funny about the sexy teacher scene at the end?
Huh.
It's when they were screening the movie, the audience's biggest note was that they wanted to know about the sexy teacher and what happened there. So they went and did reshoots of that sexy teacher scene at the end.
What happened? Did he get any of that teacher poon or what? We gotta know.
You gotta know if he gets the teacher poon. That's what the crowds are coming to seats for.
And it's really cool because then they kind of do a reverse of what happened in the beginning of the movie, and they kind of do like a tracking shot going out of the school, like the same way it went in, and it's everyone talking about Jerry now and giving all like these wild stories about him.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, is that it posits that this is how these rumors start, and then but that's not what happened, because the rumors were true about the other guy.
Yeah, and most of what they said about Jerry was true, but then they started making up other things to make him sound like he was much more heroic than he actually was.
Yeah, but it's like, what is this movie positing? Because you just vilified the bad guy who you seemed like you were being sympathetic towards for a while.
Yeah, but it almost seemed like, okay, they're going to be cool with each other now. He fought him, he lost. He's not going to try to get revenge. They're just going to be cool, and he's going to get to fuck all these women. And he got his best friend back. And he found a dog. I don't know. Like, everything comes up Millhouse.
Once again, thank you, Brandon. That was a hell of a lot more enjoyable than I think either of us thought it was going to be. Join us next week when we cover the Jaws ripoff movie, Orca, the Killer Whale, here at Celluloid.